In this video, I'm going to walk you through the changes I made on your site. There are quite a few. All of this is based upon your feedback that you gave during our initial meeting. So the very first thing I did was change your template to brine, and that lets you take advantage of some of this parallax scrolling where the image appears to stay and get hovered over as the page scrolls up. So it gives some little visual motion, and this is through the site. I adjusted your banners across the board to allow for that, and I used the heading 1 font here to excuse me, just give a little more formal look. And so I'm going to show you where I did that. So to change the template, that was here. You can see that Brian is live. You used to be on 5. The second major thing I did was I didn't actually have to edit your logo at all. The placement here was fine, but you did talk about getting some bolder coloring and a bolder font up here, perhaps a little larger, and kind of more consistent fonts across the site. So that was the second thing that I did. Was I both brought in a more consistent color palette across the board and also a more consistent font selection. So I went with the Benton Sands family of fonts for all of your headers, and what that does is it provides a nice strong font for your brand. When I say strong, it's large, really blocky letters that are very bold, and they stand out, and they evoke that imagery of strength and concrete. And so this seemed to be the perfect font selection for your brand. So you'll see that it's actually used here. This is a heading 2. This is a heading 3. I also brought in a little, instead of the dashes here, I brought in some iconography to just match the triangle down here and bring your brand in a little bit more. Additionally, I switched your body font text. It may have already been Proxima Nova. I've dropped the weight down a little bit because there's tend to be some really text-heavy pages. And then additionally, I brought in some links on your homepage. This is good for SEO, and it's also good to bring people's eyes to the important areas of your site, and it actually lets them dig further into your page. We talked a little bit about calls to action at the end of every page and giving the user someplace to go to bring them to that next step. And so these links do some of that. I didn't change any of your text. I just linked where it was pertinent to the relevant parts of your page. And so you'll see these have actually been changed to a index page layout. I'm going to show you that. We'll go into pages. So your home is now an index page, and what this really will let you do is add banners in between the sections if that's something that you want to do. It just will take more advantage of that parallax, give you a little bit more moving view. I only did that here, but we could certainly do it on your services page. If you really wanted to, although there seems to be so much information that it might be best just to leave them as standalone pages. I just feel like you put too much on and you tend to lose people, or they can't find the information that they want. So, I don't know what these are. These must be old from your old template. Nothing has been lost. All of your other elements are in here. And also, the inspiration for this new title on the home page actually came from that cover page that you showed me. Took advantage of some of that. I did not put these buttons up top, but I did include them down the bottom here. So if someone gets to the bottom, they have these 3 options, and then the research button does pop up that form. Right now this is set to go, I believe, into a Google spreadsheet for you, and so you'll want to go in there and connect this form up to email to whoever you think is pertinent. A few other things I did, I added your address to the bottom here, and then your phone number is now clickable as well. And we add a little copyright. Here, I'm not sure if you want to use these social icons. They don't actually display on your site in the live version because you're not linked anywhere. The only thing I could think that you might want to put there is maybe a LinkedIn, but if you're not keeping LinkedIn up, I would say that that's something we should just take out. There we go. And still, I think the space will be gone on the live page. Okay, so moving forward, brought it up a little bit. You also have all these icons linked, and that is really great for your SEO. I just kind of put some bars around this to draw the eye visually that this is something important and different. I put a clickable map in here so that if someone's coming in to see the areas that you cover, they can use the map and kind of figure out for themselves, well, how far away are we from you? And yes, I just changed these two text elements were here without any imagery, so I put in the clickable map, and then I put this element here. Maybe it was here already. And that is it for changes on the home page. Also, this research, if they click it, it will pop up that other form as well. By taking off the gray behind here, I was able to actually use a nice bolder font in this area, and it just makes both your logo and these different areas stand out more. I also took and tucked your About page, your News page, and your Careers page under here in a folder, and I added that nice blue underlay to the folder just because design thinking says no more than 5 to 7 links up top. There's a whole thing called paradox of choice. I'm happy to send you a book about it, but it just says if someone's given too many options, often they'll choose nothing because they're just so overwhelmed. So I refined this link list down for you to kind of help your viewers. And you also seem to indicate that you were really looking to focus on builders and developers. And so I moved these over to the left. People, when they view a website, they do it in kind of a letter F formation, so they scan across the top, and then they go down, they look over a little bit more. And so by using good use of this real estate up here, I think we've done a good job. So in addition to making the fonts more consistent, I also brought in a more consistent color palette for you. I brought in this set of primaries and neutrals across the site, so you'll see that everything kind of has that same color. This is great for your brand because it makes it so there's no jarring change between colors. They're all this blue-gray hue. And this blue-gray hue or this consistent color isn't going to do anything for you, but having inconsistent color does cause your reader to think that something's wrong and they can't put their finger on it. So by using a consistent color palette, we move away from that. And then there are a bunch of secondary colors, and these oranges in here made me feel real comfortable about using this palette with your current logo's orange color and the gray in here. So the orange is only used on links, and then not on these buttons because that wouldn't have good contrast in the footer, but it's also used here when someone hovers over or you get on an active page, it will stay orange. So just moving through the site, I took that large image off the home page and I actually just zoomed it over here onto the crew. I thought that was very evocative of letting them know, hey, we're talking with you, and you'd already picked this great image that has the orange from your brand in there. And then again, the overlay, again, creates real nice consistency through the site. I used heading 3 right here at the front of every page. You'll see that's very consistent across the board. And then here I just jumped in and changed the image layout here, and I actually cropped all of your images to square, again, to try to create a really consistent look across the pages. There are several other pages that need similar work like this done, and I will point them out to you as we go. But I want you to take a look, make sure you're comfortable with this layout before I do any further work on the other pages. Okay, and again, we do want to give some sort of, these nice calls to action are built in. Someone gets to the bottom of the page, they're looking at what to do next. They have 3 options. If you want to more specifically direct them somewhere, this would be a great place to put a nice orange button in here. And again, I would look through here and try to find ways that you can provide links to other pages so you can continue to draw the reader through your site to your end goal, which is to get them to contact you. Okay, so moving on to the research and education page. Again, I went through and I made that first paragraph header 3 to give it consistency across the site. I changed some of the headers over here just to be consistent. That's really, consistency is the key. This is a header 3, a header 2. You've got your nice contact form here, and now your button here is orange. You really only want one orange button per page. That's your main call to action. And again, this goes back to paradox of choice. We want to direct them down a very specific path, and if we give them too many choices, it's confusing. So that's why these buttons being white are great. They're secondary. Our orange is where we want them here enrolling in your class. And again, this might be something where you look to build out an event page instead. It's kind of like a blog, and it lets them, it does a little bit more of a controlled view, and it's a little cleaner treatment. There's just a lot happening on this page, and I don't want you to lose anybody. So something we can talk about as you move forward. Lots of really great linking in here. This is fabulous for your SEO. Okay, and again, this might be something you consider if you really want them to register. Consider turning that into a button. Okay. So now we're moving on to services. So services is a folder, and these pages just sit inside it. Again, for aviation, you're going to see, again, there's the consistency of the styling here. You do have these icons in some of the pages. That's great too. I wanted to delete this. It just didn't fit in super well. We can definitely talk about a design strategy moving forward. And again, here, this might be a great place for you to have a little, a separate blog where you just talk about your projects. Or you could talk about your projects on your blog, and we could link them in here with a summary block, tagging all those projects with a projects tag that pulled them in specifically to this page. And then when you got to your news page, now you're getting extra news because your projects are going in with your news articles, which is a great way to keep your site really live and looking like there's lots of content in there. So again, I just went through and applied some consistent formatting throughout the page here. I'm going to move quickly now because these pages are all very similar. Again, I felt like this was a little weird. I get it that you want to share that. Something you might want to consider is client testimonials. If that's something you have, we can talk about how you might incorporate that really well. It doesn't have to be some official commenting system or anything like that. You can curate the testimonials you like to use, and we could even put them at the bottom or within different sections to reinforce that that social proof that's really important in business these days. Okay, so again, moving through, this picture's a little dark. Maybe consider changing it. I'm not sure why. If the picture itself is probably dark. Okay, moving through, we've got your pavement services, and again, this video seems to no longer be available. I didn't delete it because I wanted to call it to your attention, but it will not load. It says video no longer available. So again, I added some more links here, and these are heading 1 because Google will look at these and use them to help determine your site's SEO. Kind of indicates it's more important. And then by this external linking, if someone's searching for these, now you've got a little more weight on them. Okay. And again, we could tag projects based upon additional tags like, tools, and then have any project that you write. And then you don't have to worry about updating these pages. You can just go to news and create an article in there, and then it will automatically, if you tag it, laser or asphalt or whatever is important for this page, pavement services, it will automatically show up in here if we put a summary block in. Okay, again, pavement analysis. This page was weird. It didn't have a banner, and it was just formatted differently than the other pages. So I tried to respect some of that formatting and repeat the image blocks that were on the builder page from earlier, just to provide some consistency. And then testing again, tried to provide, I'm not sure why that's on there. I think I'd like to bump that down. Provide some consistency there on the page. And I would, at the bottom of this, put a link to a forum to request testing or something, just to lead them to that next step nice and easily, because the footer is a little far away with all these pictures stacked up on the side. A gallery might be good here, that auto scrolls as an option. Okay, and that's the end of services. So now this about TRIMAT. A little slow loading happening. Okay, so again, there was a lot of text on here, so I just added that differentiating up top. I linked to what a DBE company is in case someone doesn't know, but again, good for SEO. This right here is a fabulous opportunity for you to link to all of these places. Provide links here. Super great for your SEO. I mean, there are tons of them, and as long as they have legitimate sites, that's great quality linking for you. This would also be a really great page to feature like a scrolling testimonial block down here or something that people could look through. Let's see, news. This is the blog page. I changed the layout of it so that, because a lot of them did not have that thumbnail image, and what I mean is, oops, sorry, is that when we come to the news page. So when we say edit, and it comes in the pop-up, so this is the tagging I was talking about. If we did summary blocks on those other pages, it could pull in tagged projects. If you don't have a thumbnail image, which you do on this one, and you don't have an excerpt, which you don't have on any of yours, then what will happen is that you don't have an image to show. So you had a grid layout, and that made it look really weird where there was no image. So I switched it to a stacked, and I shrunk the image thumbnail size down. Now if someone doesn't put a thumbnail image in, or doesn't put in any excerpt text where someone can kind of preview, do I really want to read about this project, then it still kind of stacks nicely. We put these branded color bars that automatically will go in between them, and then to let everybody know these were clickable, I changed the title to this orange color. It seems a little garish, but without it there's really no way for anyone to understand that they can click. If we were able to go back, put thumbnail images on all of these and then go back to the grid layout, we could take this orange off, but I wouldn't do it because the user experience isn't going to be great if we're not clearly showing them that these things are clickable. So that is the current state of the news page. And moving forward, careers, there was just a little content link to the contact page, and it just pulled in the thumbnail banner for the contact page, and it didn't really say anything, so I just pulled in that same image, cropped it in, and put a contact us here. This is another case where you could create another blog, and you could call it jobs, and you could actually create little posts in there that have the current jobs open, and you could tag them and actually whether they're open or closed, and they could actually pop up in here if that's something that you're even interested. There's, it's not essential, but that is one good way you could use this page. Okay, and then finally, there's the contact page, and actually I really feel like I want to change this up a little bit here. I did not notice that. What I would like to do on the contact page is just adjust that banner a little bit and see if it will allow us to keep a little bit more of the truck in there, just to have your branding. Not really. Well, it's there a little bit. And again, this is that parallax. Let's see if it changed anything. No, not really. It will on mobile anyway. And so now we have that parallax scrolling a little bit. I made your phone number clickable, but obviously not your fax. I could make this clickable, but you've already got the map below here. So I think that's probably enough. And I've kind of scooched your form over here laid out. And again, you have that one orange button letting them know that this is where we want you to act. Okay, I feel like that's it. Yeah, that will be perfect. That will work great on people's phones. And I just scooched this over here. So I just restructured a lot of the pages and put that new banner in. I changed the color of the footer to be that brand color. I will share the branding color information and fonts with you if you'd like, and if you decide you want to go forward with these, I do want to do a little behind the scenes on the site that lets me replace all of the colors and fonts, even the ones you haven't selected, those blocks you haven't selected to use yet, so that later on as you add other elements to the site, they'll already be properly colored with your brand colors and with those correct fonts. Okay, I think that is it. If you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thanks.